For our new phone system, we are using 8x8. And as part of that system, we have two different pieces of software that you'll be using directly from your computer. The first is the virtual office, which is this small window right here. And the second is the virtual contact center, which is going to be out of your web browser. When you first sign into these, you need to log in both to Virtual Office and then also to the Virtual Contact Center. Now, the first time that you log into the Virtual Contact Center, you are going to be greeted with a dashboard. We are going to set that up on your computers initially or after we first roll out, so that you're going to be taken directly into the contact center and you'll see this screen as it is here now. We'll cover all the details of that here in a moment, but let's go back to the virtual office. Virtual office is basically the way that you connect to the phone system. And so this needs to be up and running to be able to connect to the phones. But everything that you're going to be doing as far as actually managing phone calls, taking calls, transfers, anything like that is going to be done out of the browser and the virtual contact center. So once you are logged into the virtual office, you can go ahead and just take and drag it off to your second screen or where it's not going to be in the way, because you're not going to be doing anything out of it other than having it up and running. So I'm going to do that now myself. Once you are in Virtual Contact Center and you're initially logged in, what you'll see is up here at the top left-hand corner that it shows that you are currently on break. This is the equivalent of a make busy status on our current phone system, and it gives you a chance to get into the system. Any notices or posts that you're going to see possibly pop up would come up at this point. When you are ready to take a call, you would then switch over and click where it says available. And when you do that, you see that it takes the entire screen from the gray out status into a ready status, and that your status up in the top left corner goes from the red on break to the green available. If you would need to step away from your computer for a moment between calls to, say, grab something off the printer or to check with another agent, what you want to do is to select this work offline status. And if we select that, you'll see that up here at the top left, your status goes from the green available to this yellow working offline. This allows you to still receive calls internally, but you won't receive calls from an external source. If you are taking lunch or taking a break, rather than selecting that, you're going to want to take the select the take break option. And you'll see again that that's going to switch you back to this on break status, and no calls are going to come in at all. It's basically going to take you out of the queues. So let's go ahead and switch back to an available status. And what you'll see when you first log in is that you've got several options up here across the top of the left-hand portion of the screen. We're only really concerned with 3 of these at the moment. The first is the icon that has what looks like 2 people together. It has a current yellow bar under it, and this shows the queues. And this is going to show basically what queue that you are in. So if you're in sales, customer service, quotes, PCP, you'll see that particular queue listed here. For our test environment, we have them all listed. You're not going to see all of those, just the one that you're in. And then down here at the bottom, you're going to see available agents that are currently logged into the system and that are either available directly or available to work offline. The second tab that we're interested in is the one over here on the far left, which is the phone tab. When a phone call actually comes into the system, this will be where you handle the call as far as being able to mute it, put it on hold, end the call, transfer between agents, all of those normal functions that you would normally do on your physical desk phone are now going to be handled out of this screen. And then the third tab that we're interested in is this chat tab, which is the second one in from the left, now currently has the yellow bar under it. This is going to be your new chat window. It's going to be replacing Skype so that you can chat between agents and then also chat with other users within the company that have access to the virtual office as well. And we'll get back to that here in a little bit to show you how a chat functions with that. When we are ready to take a call, you will actually see a pop-up, not directly in the virtual contact center. This is where virtual office comes into play. It won't actually show up in virtual office. Again, you can have that off to the side, but you're going to see a notification up in the top right-hand corner of your browser window. And when that notification comes up, you'll see that you've got the option either to select green to accept the call or red. If for some odd reason you can't take the call and it rolls over looking for the next agent, which we're going to let it do now, you'll see that it's going to roll you into an on-break status. When that happens, you need to again click available to go back into the queue to be able to take a call, which we will do. And when we do that, we see that we start taking calls again. When we do that, we want to select the green, and that will then answer the call. And what you see on the left-hand side is that you now have caller information. You can see the caller's number. You can see what channel they came in. This is still temporary, but this is the main phone number that will be coming through. And then you also have your options for being able to mute yourself, put the call on hold, or to end the call. And again, we want to do everything here out of this tab. I'm sorry, out of this window. So in this case, if you need to mute yourself, you can select that. You can see that you actually do go on mute. If you need to then pick back up, you want to select talk. Same thing if you are needing to put the person on hold, you can select hold here, and they will be put on hold within the queue. Once you're ready to pick back up, again, you just select talk, and that will put you back on the line with them. If you are ready to then end the call, again, you just need to select end call within the window. When that occurs, you get a 20-second window to do what they call post-processing. And you can see a timer up here at the top that's counting down. This gives you 20 seconds to wrap up anything as far as making notes, closing out of an I-5 order, whatever it may be. If you get done early, you can go ahead and hit the end post-processing, but once that timer hits 0, it rolls you back into an available status on the queue automatically. And then when you're ready to, again, start taking calls, you're already there, ready to go. If you need more time, you can go ahead and select the work offline to, again, finish up any notes or complete the order out as needed. So let's go back into our available status once again. And we will bring another call back into the system. Now, I am going to show how to transfer a call between agents, and then also how to transfer a call to somebody that is not in the contact center, but it's working through virtual office. They function a little bit differently between the two, so we'll have to show a separate window that you have to look up additional users in. Okay, so we have our call coming back in, and I'm going to accept the call. And let's say that I now want to take and transfer this call to Carmen. There are two different ways that you can do this. The first is that you can take and put the call on hold, and then go to your Agents tab, and you can see that we've got a couple of people logged in here that are not currently available on the system. But we can take and we can tell it to make a call. And when we do this, it's going to ring our other agent, and you've got two different options here. If you need to do a warm transfer where you are putting the person on the line, or I'm sorry, you're putting the other agent on the line before you transfer the call, which is what we always want to do. We don't want to do a blind transfer where we just send somebody something. You want to click this transfer lines. And this will then give you the option, if we click that, to talk to the other person on the phone. and then be able to transfer that call across without a problem. Once we have that, we are then also put in the same post-processing option as well. Our second option for transferring a call, we don't necessarily have to put the person directly on hold. What we can do is come up here to this box where it has 1 and 2. And if we've got the person here, we can click line 2. And this will give us the option then to pull up an agent we want to transfer to. And we can do the same thing again. We're going to select Carmen and make a call. And this will do the same thing and give us the option to either transfer lines or to join them together. Again, transfer lines is doing a warm transfer. Join lines is if you want to bring the customer on with the other agent. In other words, you want to bring in a three-way conversation. If you click on that, it will then actually bring both the second agent and the customer together. And you then have options to, again, end the call, mute yourself, put it on hold accordingly. So if you finish up and you introduce the customer to the next agent, you're ready to get off, you're going to want to come up here and hit end call. If it's something where you need to talk to another agent, but you still need to maintain contact with the customer and they need to bow out, then you have the option here that you can select the red phone symbol and that will hang up on the agent. In this case, we'll just go ahead and click end call. And what would happen from your end is that call then transfers between the second agent and the customer. And again, you're given the option to do your post-processing or to end that post-processing early. Now, in that transfer, when you're looking at agents, the only people that you're going to see are going to be agents that are currently available within the queue or within the contact center. If you need to transfer to somebody that is outside of the queue, you actually then need to go to a different area, and that is the directory window, which is on the main portion of the screen here, and it's this square box that has a small person in it. And if you click that up, that'll bring up the full company directory. We'll go ahead and answer our call here. But that'll bring up the full company directory for when it's finally set up for everybody that is not within the contact center as far as the sales department, customer service, quotes, PCP. And if we need to transfer to somebody within this queue, it works basically the same. You can either put them on hold or you can click your second line. You can come over to the directory window, scroll down, find who you're looking for. In this case, we will transfer to Carmen again. And you've got the option over here to either start a chat or to call them. And what we want to do is just select the call. And that'll do the same thing where it dials Carmen. She picks up the call. And then we again have our options to either transfer lines or to join lines. We'll go ahead and do a transfer here. She would get the phone call. And at that point, again, we've got the option to post-process or end post-processing. So works very similar in that you are still just looking for the person, telling it to dial, but you're looking if they're not in the sales department in this directory window rather than with underneath the agents window. Now, if we would have a instance where you have a call come in and you need to transfer it to someone, and we'll do the same thing here. We will transfer to Carmen. And let's say that she does not want to take the call. At that point, she would end the call on her end, which she's going to do right now. And we are brought back to our first line, and we can see that there's this hand symbol on it. And if we go back right here, we can see that we were kicked back automatically to that phone call. It does not by default put you back into hold. it's going to just send you back to that person. So just be aware that if that happens, if the person doesn't want the call, they end it or ask you to not give it to them, send it to their voicemail, things like that, it is going to kick you back to the customer directly without putting them on a hold status. Let's take a look then at bringing in a voicemail. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to pause the recording for just a moment. We're going to call in and leave a voicemail and then put ourselves in an available status to see how it handles a new voicemail message coming in. Okay, we've allowed a call to run through the system and reach the point where a voicemail was left. And what you'll see if you're either working offline or if you're in available status and voicemail message comes through is what's going to happen once I click to available here. So when I click available, one brief thing to look at here is that within your queue list, you'll see that there is a icon here for in queue, and we've got one here. That is showing you that there's currently one item in the queue. In this case, it's a voicemail message rather than a caller. But once we click on this, you'll see what happens with that voicemail message. So I'm going to roll myself back over into available status. And when I do, I get a call ringing in. And when I accept that call, is that I get the voicemail message played back into my ear. And that voicemail message is going to keep repeating until you end the call. And then the same thing, it'll put you into your post-processing or end post-processing state. So that gives you the option to be able to hear the message multiple times if you don't catch what's being said, or if you need to gain additional information that you might have missed the first time by having it repeat like that. We're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to end post-processing. I'm going to go back into a work offline status, and we are going to then bring in another call, because one of the options that we have with this phone system is that customers don't have to wait in the queue or just leave a voicemail. They're now able to leave a callback number and basically reserve their spot in the queue, so that when they come up to that point and an agent's free, you're now prompted to call them back rather than having them sit on hold or get kicked directly to the voicemail box. So we're going to pause the recording again. We're going to bring another call in, and we're going to do the same thing where we asked for a callback, and we'll demonstrate how that works as well. All right, we have allowed a call to roll through the system and to bring up on the automated callback system. And the same thing we can see here if we go to our queues tab within the outbound phone calls, we now have one that is waiting, and that's going to be that callback that that the customer requested in the phone queue. We should clarify as far as the actual queues are concerned. If you are in just the call center, let's say, what you're going to see is actually 3 separate queues that all encompass the call center. You're going to have an inbound phone call queue, you're going to have an outbound phone call queue, and then you're going to have a voicemail queue. So if you look here, you can see that for the call center, we're right here with the inbound phone calls. This is going to be people calling in. Outbound phone calls here is going to be people that requested a call back. And then the voicemail queue is going to be the same thing. It's going to be people that have left voicemail messages. But for the sake of our demonstration, let's go ahead and we'll roll over into available status. And what we see is that we're now being offered a call. And if we go to our phone tab, we can see that we can start that call. And what we're prompted with is, again, our dialer. And again, this is our virtual office. And that is asking us to call out. And I didn't answer quick enough. So we are going to try that again. So it should do the same thing. We want to start, and it's going to prompt us over here. We need to select green, because again, what we're looking to do is that's making our connection to the phone system. And what you'll hear is that it's going to ring, and then it's going to actually dial that person back. And if they answer, you're going to be connected back into that call. And then same thing, you'd handle the call like normal. You can, again, mute, hold, end the call accordingly. And then same thing, you finish up, it's going to give you your option for end post-processing and the like. So we're going to end right there. I'm going to roll back into a work offline status. I believe the last thing that we need to look at is chat within the system. Again, if you go to the second tab, you'll see that you've got your option for chat. And if you need to contact somebody, and we'll pull up right here, and let's say that I want to chat with Carmen. Since she's in the queue, I can come down here, and I've got the option to start a chat. And when I do, that's going to pop up another window. I can see that I'm chatting to Carmen, and I can come down here at the very bottom and type my message. And this begins my chat window. We can see that Carmen is responding back, and that I can keep that going just like a normal chat. Now, one of the restrictions that we do have is that we can only have a total of 6 ongoing conversations at a time, so that you'll notice that at the top of this chat window, we have a end option. And if we select end, that's going to end that current chat window, and it's going to disappear from up here in this pane. That doesn't mean that the chat went away, it just means that it's not currently an active chat in my chat window. If I come back in and I need to chat with Carmen again, I can come back, I can select her, I can say start a chat, and that'll pull back up, and you can see that my history is still there. So I'm not losing anything in that chat history, it's just not actively staying open within the window. Again, you've got a limit of 6 total chats that have been going on at once, so you're going to have to manage those accordingly as far as ending chats to keep them flowing through there. The other thing that we can look at is that if you need to chat somebody that is not in the sales department, and again, we're doing that out of our directory window. So if we come over here to our directory, again, we can come over and I can start a chat with Carmen through here. And it's going to bring up the exact same option. And what you'll see with somebody that's outside of the call center, so if they were in, say, marketing, purchasing, or the like, is that they're going to have a VO in front of their name. That means you're chatting with them through the virtual agent. But everything works exactly the same. So we can send our message, and she can respond in kind. And same thing. Once we're done with our chat, we want to go ahead and just select end. And if we need to remessage her, it's the same thing. We can go over here, select our chat button. It'll bring it back up, and it brings our history back with it, so that you, again, are not losing anything in the chats. You're just managing what chats you have active at any given time. I think that is everything we needed to cover with this initial training video. If you have any questions on it, feel free to speak with Carmen, myself, Christy, or Jen. They've all been playing with the system as well, and we'll be able to help walk you through any snags or difficulties you might have.